You know, when it's 26 seconds into the video and your tongue is wrapped around your back teeth, it's time to start over. Hi, this is Kelly from Kelly's Creative Dream Studios. And today is our last week, actually this week is our last week in the June challenge for Junk Journal Junkies and using ArtyMaze digitals. There, I did it. Now these are two of the tags we've done so far. Life has been a little crazy and I'm just a few hours behind, but it's still Tuesday. This video's still going up. It's just not going to be a long one. So here's what we're starting with. We're starting with a tag base. And as with the other ones, we're going to cover them with book pages. Oh, I had a third tag over here. Hang on. But I think this was, yeah, that was from last week. That was from last month. Let's see. There's my book pages. There's my book pages. I want to do something. I don't think I've used this one before. So let's try this one. Let's try this one. So let's get our, like I said, it's Monday. Actually, it's Tuesday. It just feels like Monday. I'm going to use my Tombow glue. This is my favorite glue to use. And as opposed to using the squeegee on the bottom, which never seems to work for me, I prefer to just use the tip. And then to prevent the creasy wrinkles, I spread it out a little bit. And I'm going to go up here in my corner. You may be on screen, but I want to do this all the way in the corners to the edges, but I don't want it to be where I'm going to lay stuff and then lay it in glue. So give me just a minute to spread this around. Okay, I've got the edges. Now I'm going to come back through and I'm going to just kind of take the hump out of that glue squiggle. Just like that. And trying to decide, I think this is the upright way, and I want this urn on there. So I'm going to lay this right here. And I've got glue on my fingers already. It takes me like 30 seconds to get glue where I don't want it. And let's use my squeegee here. And I'm going to make sure that's squeegee down good. And then I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to go right up against the edge here. And I'm going to take this all the way down, because that gives me this big square here that I can take off. Like that. I need my cheaters on. Well, we went from it raining almost constantly to now we have heat constantly. We've been in the 90s the last 4 days. And I'm already ready for summer to be over with. I'm already over it. We've not set the tank up yet, mostly because with my ribs, I would not have been able to get in it. So I've not done the weed edging and stuff around there where the tank goes that I would have set the tank up and made it enjoyable. Okay, now I want to come back over that with my, I thought I had my caramel, there it is. With my creamy caramel. This was a retired color from Stampin' Up. And it was one of my first introductions to edging and to distressing edges. And I loved the softness of it as opposed to using walnut stain. Vintage Photo is just a hair darker. I really need to order a vintage photo. Really, really do. I'm waiting anxiously for my Christmas kit to get here from Simon Says Stamps. Waiting anxiously for that. Okay, now we've got that. Now we got to do something with it. So let me flip through my pages here and see. Here we go. Okay. Okay, we probably don't want to use a pattern on here unless, wait a minute, and you know what? That should have been a book page, but you know what? We're going to do that. Let's use this. And let's use a strip of book page on this side, because I really don't want to cover up that urn. But I do want to, my sponge is about had it on here. So is my creamy caramel. I think it needs touched up. So I'm just going to come in here like this. Get my finger back out of there. And then I'm going to come in here with this. I just want a little bit of that book page to come out here. And actually, I would rather have torn that, I think. So let's save that for another project. And let's get another piece of that book paper here. This one's got a torn edge already. That's perfect. That's perfect. So I leave Thursday for Illinois to meet with a dear friend. I'm looking forward to it. My ribs are not sure I'm looking forward to the trip, but I'm looking forward to the trip. So I leave Thursday morning and I will be gone through Monday. I'm packing as light as I possibly can so I don't have to deal with stuff with my ribs. No lifting, no bending. Lightweight bags. So instead of one big computer bag, I'm taking my iPad bag plus my smaller laptop bag. So I'm not putting all the weight into one bag. Okay, we've got that trimmed up. Now we can come in with this one. And let's give it a little less wiggle. And I want to come in. I'm not sure if there's a right or wrong on those flowers, actually. Let's do this. We want a little bit of a distress edge, not all the wiggle wobble. Okay. Not perfect, but better. Okay. And now we can come back in with this and just kind of give it a little bit more edge definition. So there will not be a video tomorrow, but there will be one on Friday. It is going to be a premiere, but I won't be there. But the chat room will be available for everybody to gather and chat, and that should work. And then I will be back here next week with a little more. Now I'm going to bring this over just a little bit. And do that. So we have the layers. That's what I want. I wanted the layers. Woo. Also want the glue to dry so I can move it. Now we're going to need something else on here. Okay, there's that. Set that aside. And now let's look at our goodies to see what we have that we could maybe put down there. Get all my paper pieces out of the way. So Friday's premiere is going to be this journal almost finished. Almost. Not quite going to get everything done that I wanted. I like that. Too many flowers. I think this is too big. I think that's too big. Yeah, that's, I don't know, it kind of works. We could use that one. I've already done one of these, so I don't want to do it again. The postcards are too big. I should have printed those smaller, actually. I think I like this one with that height. I really do. Everything else seems a little big for what I want. So let's do that one. Get this one out of the way. I like this one. Now, do we want to edge it? Do we want to edge it? Let me see what my edge scissors are really quick and see if something jumps out at me. Nothing's jumping out and saying, use me, use me. Oh, maybe these will. Maybe these will. I think I like these. I have an entire collection of scissors from ProVoCraft, and I'm betting you do too. If you do, get them out and use them. You will be amazed at the difference they can bring to a project. They're not just for fussy cutting mats for scrapbook pages. And I went in on this one a little bit too deep because I didn't have my glasses on, but that's okay. We're going to find our edge. We're going to trim this one not quite as deep. And I tried to get that one without having to move the scissors. And that one really boogered off there. And we're going to come back with this one. When you get to that stopping point, move your scissors. Don't try to force it to do something it doesn't want to do, because then you wind up with problems. Okay, so now we're going to come in here and we're going to, this one really is about due for a new sponge, actually. And we're going to just come in off the side here. And see how that creamy caramel works really well with that? And I'll bet if you do some search online, you're going to find creamy caramel somewhere. Okay, so there's that. And you know with tags, I don't do anything that's really dimensional, so we're just going to glue this one in place. And then see what I've got for ribbon over here that I had pulled. I really need something that's got a little more blue to it. So let's see. Flip around here and look at my blues. There are no blues there. It's all purples and greens. So let's see where my blues are at. Grays. Really, no blues. Aha! Blues. But I need a ribbon. Maybe this. Maybe this. I don't want the polka dots. They're just wrong. They're just wrong. So let's take a shift of this and get my pins here and close this off. I keep my pins handy so I can seal my ribbons down. This seam binding may have come from Stampin' Up! As well. Now, I'm not going to take time to press this one out. I could, but I'm not going to. My husband is probably the coolest man in the whole wide world. He, normally I fix supper, and then he does the dishes and cleans up the kitchen at night. But because he understands that I am trying so hard to get a bunch load of stuff done before I leave. Now see, you can put a staple in there, but if you put two in there, it seems like it's intentional and not like you missed a spot. And I hadn't put the paper on the back of here yet, so that lets me cover the, up the backs of the staples, so no pokey pokey. Now let's see. Here's a piece of this vintage paper. And I'm going to take and mush those staple ends down good first. And let me tell you, that mushing that staples down really bothers my rib cage. I've gone from being really sore to pain to sore to tender. And it's worked out rather well. And I said the only thing I really can't do is bend or lift. Or apply pressure with this hand. Otherwise, I'm pretty much back to normal as long as I'm on my Advil Dual. My Advil Dual is my godsend, let me tell you. Okay, now because this paper is really thin, I am going to spread this glue out again. I'm just going to spread it down. Make sure I'm getting to those edges. And then we're just going to put this up here. Now in a perfect world, I would have put this on before I put that ribbon in and got it in my way, but the whole purpose was to cover the staples. So, you know, you pick your battles. Okay. Now the other crazy thing I am doing is all day tomorrow, I am going to be trying to do the Dear Julie Junk Journal Challenge in one day, because the challenge ends on the 30th and I don't get home until the 30th. So if I'm going to do that challenge, and I really wanted to because I had 2 boxes of junk that I'd been saving, and this allows me to pull everything that I needed for the challenge and then pitch everything I didn't need. And I love that part the best. I get to pitch stuff. Okay, now I'm not going to use the finger dauber this time. I'm going to come back with this. And I'm going to do this. And just use the ink pad. And based on the way it's covering the least, I think I do need to re-ink it. But that's okay. I have a re-inker for just about every single one of my Stampin' Up! Ink spots. So I'm good there. Okay, let's see. How do I want this? I want it to go this way. I want to go this way. And I want to go this way. And I'd really like my fingers to cooperate. Like that. And there is tag number 3 for the June challenge with ArtyMaze and Junk Journal Junkies with Yvonne Preston. So I'm going to close this off now, and then I'm going to get to work on finishing this album so I can show you the flip through on Friday. In the meantime, please remember to like, to share, subscribe, and I'll see you back here on Friday. Creative blessings.